Okay, so we are going to look at the dynamic timetable now. So along the bottom, towards the left-hand side, we've got the year, which is the sort of calendar view. TT is timetable. DTT is the dynamic timetable. Now this is where the planning is really helped out, because you can have a look at 2 weeks at a time in your diary, essentially. So on the right hand side, we've got the Monday dates for week 1 and week 2, and that is automatically filled from your calendar. We've got a to-do list, so you can add in time completed, and then DL stands for deadline, so we can say plan the 7A1 lesson for Monday, or that we need to prepare for the Year 7 Parents' Evening, which is next month. So let's say instead of having a Monday to Friday, we can say, well, that's on the 15th or whenever. Okay, and that just makes it nice and easy. It just saves you having another piece of paper lying around to write notes on, or to get lost or forgotten about. But the key part of this is here. So we can see we've got week 1 at the top, week 2 at the bottom, and the classes have been imported from the timetable. Okay, this is why we had to put the timetable in this sort of format here, where we've got the class name in the top left, because that gets imported into the dynamic timetable. Now you can't alter anything here, this is locked down because it feeds in data from everywhere else. So if we start playing around with it, we're going to mess up the formulas, and it's going to cause all. Now, what you can change on here is the dates, and we can see that 7A1, the first lesson, if we go back to 7A1, we said the first lesson, according to our calendar, didn't actually exist, because that was the 31st of August, that was the summer holidays, and it's read in summer holidays there. The next lesson was Friday week 2, and now lesson 1 has been fed in from their class sheet as well. So it's looked at this date, the 11th, and said, right, well, that's the lesson that is being taught on that day. And on Friday the 11th, it says 7A1, they are doing lesson 1. If we want to change this to the next week, this drop-down list here next to Monday, that date, includes just this list of Monday of week 1, and down here, this is just the Mondays of week 2, according to our calendar that we've entered earlier, and our term dates. So if we go to the next Monday of week 1, we can see 1 has lesson 2 there on that day, and we can see as well Friday the 18th is an inset day, so that's automatically been populated in the class sheets, and there's now been automatically inserted into here. So if I'm planning for this week, I think, oh, I don't actually need to plan for my year 12s and 13s on Friday, because that's an inset day, so that lesson will be put back to their next lesson. And if we go to the next week on here, we can see that lesson 1 changes to lesson 3. So this reads in information from all sorts of places, but it makes it very handy for you to plan what's going on. Okay, we can see the homework details here as well, which is why I wanted that in the top right. The room number isn't on here. I didn't think that was as important for this part of the spreadsheet, but we've got the class name, whether or not homework is being given in or out, and what lesson is being taught to that class on that day at that time. The only other thing that you can't see at the moment is the colour coding based on today's date. So if we go to this week, today, as you can see down here is the 12th of February 2021. So where that date matches today, that day goes green in the dynamic timetable, and also Year 7 Parents' Evening in the notes here has been read in from where I typed it in the calendar. So any notes that you type into here about specific dates that are coming up, sports days, whatever else it is, that comes into the dynamic timetable as well. So as well as knowing what I need to plan for this day's lessons, I also need to be aware that there's a parents' evening coming up on that day as well. So the more you fill in terms of, and the more you go through the year, the more you've got of what you have taught and what you are teaching next, the more this fills out and the better it looks. So if we go back, for example, to here, it might be that now I'm in this week, I'm in week 2. Let's pretend it's at some date in this week 2. I can either have week 1 showing last week, so I can go, oh, 7A1, last time they did lesson 2, now they're on to lesson 3, or I could skip ahead and go, okay, so if they're doing lesson 3 today, that means on Monday the 28th they need to be doing lesson 4, so let's fill that in here. I can come back to the dynamic timetable, and now that's there as well. So you can flip between the dynamic timetable and the class sheets to really help you plan what you are doing. And like I said as well, on the class sheets we've got these notes here, so I know when I'm planning lesson 2 I need to start with task B from the lesson before I move on with that content. And so this is really what kind of acts as your teacher planner, because this is where you have what you have taught, what you're going to teach, notes about each lesson, who was absent, who did well, who struggled, etc. So this is really quite a key part of the spreadsheet.